Here are some more things you can think about that might be more useful to you in the future. If you're involved in or responsible for a specific project in some construction work, ask yourself, is my project involved in some construction work? If so, then CDM applies. Who is performing the CDM roles? Is it Amy? Is it the client? Is it some other contractor? Are you clear about who the designers and the contractors are? And finally, how can we comply with the regulations? We must stress that CDM asks us to take a proportionate risk management approach. Most of the United Kingdom's health and safety legislation, including many of the duties in CDM, is framed as doing what is reasonably practicable. In the case of CDM, you'll also see the phrase, take reasonable steps. The greater the project risk, the more time, money, and effort needed to manage the risks. The amount of time, money, and effort we put into planning, designing, managing, and monitoring routine maintenance activities on a bridge will differ from constructing a new rail line. And this will be vastly greater than the time, money, and effort invested into a redecoration or office refurbishment. Is that clear so far?
Yes. The bigger the project, the more time, effort, and resources are needed to manage it. Great. So what about the paperwork? What do we use?
Amy has a core set of CDM processes available from Amy World HSEQ pages that support the business units. There are also templates that suit their specific requirements.
So I can find separate templates then for different kinds of projects?
Yes, you can, and you can adapt them to your own needs.
If I'm providing project information, what sorts of things should I be putting in? And how does Amy get all this information?
There's no definitive list of pre-constructed information that designers or contractors might need. Once again, it entirely depends on the nature and risk of the project. Examples might include a building condition survey, asbestos management plan, maintenance logs, buildings drawings, services information, structural information and conditions, geotechnical surveys, flood risk plans, traffic studies, and the list goes on and on.
And how does Amy get all this information?
Well, this is a responsibility we rely upon the client to provide. The client needs to provide this information, but it's often unavailable. So part of Amy's activities may be in obtaining it to inform the design. Designers must ensure they engage with the client to understand their responsibility to provide or arrange to collect this information. The principal designer will advise the client on the necessary information. When there are multiple contractors, they will review the available information and help to provide it to the designers and others who require it.
So it's down to the client to provide this information?
Principally, yes, but remember, health and safety is every individual's responsibility. We all have eyes, ears, and brains. If you see something that's not quite right, or you suspect something is wrong, you must shout out and call it out. You must be satisfied that the information you have is up to date, valid, and complete before you start any work. How much do you know about the principal contractor's role?
Not much.
Okay, well, the principal contractor plans, manages, and monitors the construction phase. The principal contractor is effectively a project manager where there is more than one contractor. This person might be called the main contractor, and they're usually responsible for appointing the other contractors. As you can imagine, someone must ensure effective coordination and cooperation on the site where multiple contractors are involved. Someone must take overall responsibility for site security, traffic management, and welfare. Depending on the nature of your project, Amy could be asked to perform this role or work under the control of another principal contractor. The construction phase plan we talked about before is drawn up by a contractor or, if there's more than one contractor, by the principal contractor. Typical contents and headings for a construction phase plan would likely include site security, induction, welfare cooperation and coordination, consulting with workers, fire and emergency arrangements, traffic management and site access and egress. The business unit should have templates which are appropriate to the work you're doing.
That's a lot to take on board.
Very simply then, it should be clear how the construction site and activities are organised, managed and monitored to maintain good health and safety standards.